So in this video, we're going to tell you about 5 bad money habits that are keeping people poor. Hey money magnets, Marvin and I spent over a decade in credit repair and financial consulting. I know you're wondering, how did we get to this point?
You know what we figured out is we had did thousands of people's credit over the years, and then we started having repeat customers. So we realized it was their relationship with money.
Bad habit number 1, not paying yourself first. A lot of times we don't pay ourselves first, and it's so important that we do this. You should be taking 10% off the top before you pay anyone else and put it in a savings account for a rainy day fund.
Because you know what happens? We pay everybody else first. We pay the cable bill, we pay the car note, the landlord, the mortgage. All these other companies are getting money before we do. Look, think about you and your family and put that 10% aside because you may need it for a rainy day.
And Marvin, let's just tell them what we do. I found that it was easy for us. Marvin and I opened up a Charles Schwab account, and what we do is we pay 10% right off the top to Charles Schwab. So that way we can't touch that money. We have to actually do a withdrawal if we need the money for emergency cases. We all can be guilty of this, and this is something that you can fix right away, and this can save you a ton of money.
Bad money habit number 2. We're too comfortable using credit cards. You know, it was a time where I spent cash for everything, but now we're in a credit-driven world where they're advertising credit cards all the time. I remember just last week when Gloria and I were in the airport, they were trying to give us a Delta credit card that we already had. But look, now America is in $1.7 trillion worth of debt. They just came out with an article last year, and this is the most debt that America has been in since the beginning of credit cards.
That right there is so eye-opening. Marvin and I have quite a few credit cards, but I like to play the game with the credit cards because I most definitely is a VIP girl. Every time we travel, I like to use the credit card so that we can get points, and we do a lot of traveling for free because of this. But we do have a rule that we live by. It's when we use our credit cards, we pay it off in full every single month. So you have to set rules for yourself when you're using these credit cards, and don't get yourself in more debt than what you can afford.
Because while it's okay to use credit cards and they're really safe to use, you know, just don't get yourself in a position where you're paying a whole lot of interest. Because guess what? You're losing money. If you can't pay it off within 30 days, then don't buy it.
It's called play the credit card game. So if you play the game correctly, and if you're a responsible person, this can most definitely benefit you. But don't get yourself in debt. Don't dig a deeper hole for yourself by just going out and using your credit card because you want a new pair of shoes. You should put 10% of your earnings away so that you can save for these expenses. And not only that, this can be your rainy day fund as well.
And look, if you guys know anybody that can use this video to help them out with some of their money habits, please share this video because that's what we want to do. We want to give back and we want to help people.
Bad habit number 3, 6 months worth of savings. Now let's jump right into the typical rule of thumb for savings. You should have 3 to 6 months of savings, and that just depends on what your bills look like.
Yeah, and you know what? This is a perfect time to talk about what bills can you cut back on. We don't need Prime, Netflix, and Apple TV. Figure out what you can cut back on because you know what? Saving money really helps you out. We all should have learned a lesson because of COVID. Do you know how many people were put out of work because of COVID? Because they were around people all the time. We have a restaurant and we had to actually lay off several waiters because we couldn't have people inside the restaurant. So COVID should have gave all of us a wake-up call about saving 6 months worth of our bills.
Marvin, this should be a task you should look at completing because if you're paying yourself 10% off the top, this is a good way for you to get in the habit of saving money.
This is one of the major money habits everybody should concentrate on because you know what? It takes care of you, and it's a peace of mind to know if something went wrong in life or in the economy that you have 6 months to prepare of what do I do next.
So leave a comment about what was your biggest financial wake-up call. I'm going to share with you one of mine. When I first opened up our restaurant, before I met Marvin, I didn't do a very good job of separating my business from my personal. I was commingling money all the time.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, Marvin, what I was doing was I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. So I was putting the restaurant before my personal expenses, and it caused me such a big tragedy. I ended up losing my house behind this. That was so hurtful because I had lived in this house for 10 years, and it was like one of my major accomplishments before I even opened the restaurant. This is something that I worked really, really hard.
Yeah.
I saved the money to get myself in position to purchase this home. You know, I was a single mom at the time. So it was like a pat on the back. My family was so proud of me. It was just an amazing feeling. And then I decided that I wanted to be a business owner. I said, hey, I'm going to step out on faith and become a business owner. And when I did that, I started putting the cart before the horse. I was paying the restaurant bills and not paying my personal bills or paying myself. In my mind, my mindset was, oh, this is a cash business. I'll catch up on it later. And guess what? I was never able to catch up on it later. So you should always pay yourself first before paying anything else.
And think about your family. That'll probably help you do it even faster. And if you have to, use envelopes. Soon as you get the money, get it out of the bank, put it in an envelope, put it up somewhere so you don't spend it. But having 6 months, to me, gives you that ultimate peace of mind.
Bad habit number 4. Keeping up with your income and your expenses. This is really important to know what you have coming in versus what you have coming out. Because a lot of times we go and we swipe on our debit card, and we don't even keep up with what we have going out versus what we have coming in. And then you end up with NSF fees. That's costing you more money that you could be putting towards your savings.
And you know, Gloria, for me, it was subscriptions. You know how sometimes you get excited, you sign up for a new subscription and you forget about it. Like usually, you know, beginning of the year, you sign up for the gym, then you stop going, but this money is still coming out of your account every month. So look back at your bank statements every month, credit card statements, and make sure, do you need these things? Cut out some of the subscriptions, because what it'll do, it'll rob you of your savings.
Let me give you a good suggestion of what me and Marvin came up with. We were talking to our bookkeeper, and she was like, Gloria, you know, I'm keeping the books together for you and Marvin for your business. Have you ever thought about keeping the books together for your personal? I said, no, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So what we end up doing is we end up getting QuickBooks for our personal, so that way we can analyze what we can cut out and what we should keep. This gives you a big picture of your spending every single month.
That's exactly right. And keeping up with these expenses can only increase your savings. Bad money habit number 5, paying too much in taxes. You know, we all need to consult with an accountant or a tax preparer to figure out how can we pay less taxes legally. That's the key. But you know what Gloria and I decided to do? We have an online business. We decided to move to Puerto Rico. It significantly cut our business taxes. We went from 37% all the way down to 4%. But that might not be feasible for everybody. You know, what you need to do is sit down with an accountant or tax software. They got a lot of great tax softwares to figure out what deductions can you take legally to lower your taxes. Because let's face it, taxes is our biggest expense.
Starting a business can also help you save on taxes. Marvin and I have a mentorship. You may want to check it out. We have a free webinar that we do once a week, and we can give you all the game on how to get your business up and running, especially if you're just looking for a side hustle.
And look, if you guys want to start a side hustle, we have a video about it coming up next. So check out this next video. I'm Mr. Smith.
And I'm Mrs. Smith.
And we're here to help empower your finances.